Hi everyone, welcome back. I hope you're all well. Today's video I'm going to be showing you how to make this very cute, very tiny beaded apple. So this is what it looks like. So I just think this is so cute. So this would be great for earrings or a pendant. So to make one of these you're going to need some size 11 or size 10 seed beads in red. And then a lighter colour for the bottom. I've got this kind of like light orangey yellow, and you'll also need a brown for the stalk and then a nice green bead for the leaf. You also need your beading thread, and I use about 20 inches of 6-pound fireline, and your needle. That's everything, so let's get started. So I've threaded my needle, and the first thing you're going to do is pick up 5 of your light yellow colour, slide those down onto your thread all the way along, just leaving a few inches at the end, and then sew up through the first one to bring them together. So we've got this. Now we're going to pick up one of that same colour, coming out of this one straight into the next one in the circle. Picking up one, coming out here and straight into the next one. Picking up one, coming out here and going straight down through the next one. Picking up one, coming out here and going straight through the next one. And last one for this row, picking up one, coming out here, going straight through the next one. And now, because it's the last one in the row, also stepping up into that bead above as well. Okay, now pull that really tight and make sure you keep your tail thread pulled tight as well. And you should have this. Okay, so now we've got those 5 beads that are sticking out on the edge. We're going to be going through those this time. Start by picking up 2 of your red, coming out of this one, skipping over one and going through that next one on the outside edge. This time picking up yellow, followed by red. And we're coming out here, so we're skipping over one and going through that next one. So we've got this, picking up 2 red this time. Coming out here, skip over one, go through the next one. Again picking up 2 red, coming out here, skipping over one, going through the next one. And finally picking up 1 yellow and 1 red, and coming out of here, skipping over one, going through the next one, and you're also going to step up into the bead above. So you're not going to go through both of those, just up into the first one, like that. So now you've got this. So you've got these 5 groups of 2 that we just added in that row. We're going to be placing a bead right down the centre of those. So working all with red from now on until we get to the top. Picking up 1 red. So we're between this group of 2, so we're coming out of this one, you're going to go straight down through the next one and then up through the first bead in the next group of 2. So you're coming through this one, skipping that one underneath and coming out of this one, like that. Okay, so now you're in between that next group of 2, you're going to do the same. So picking up 1, going straight down through the next bead and then up through the next bead in the next group of 2. Okay, now picking up 1 and doing the same again. So coming out here, down through the next one and up through the one after that. and another one, picking up one, down through the next one, and up through the one after that. This time it's going to be the yellow bead, like that. And this is going to be the last bead of the row. So picking up one, we're coming out of this one, so down through this one, up through that next red one, like always, and then through that red bead on the top. So you're coming out the side here, and we've got this nice little star shape at the moment. Okay, so for this row, we've got these 5 beads right at the top of each of the points of the star. They're the 5 beads you're going to go through, and you're going to put 2 beads in between each. So picking up 2 red, coming out of this one, go around to the next point and go through that bead right at the top of the point, like that. Picking up 2, coming out of this one and go into the top bead on the next point of the star. And you're going to do that 3 more times. So picking up 2, into the next one at the top of the star point, picking up 2, coming out here, going into the next bead at the top of the next point, and finally picking up 2. So we're coming out here, so we're going to be going through this point bead right at the top here, and now you're going to pull it really tight, and it should kind of curve up. Make sure at this point you pull it really tight so there's no loose threads showing between the beads, because you won't be able to tighten that up later. So make sure you get it really tight before you continue. And you're coming out of this bead here, you're just going to step up through 2 beads, like that. And again, keep that pulled really tight. Okay, so it might be kind of tricky to see, but if you tilt it on the side a little bit like this, you should be able to see that you've got these groups of 2 that are on the top row, and then there's the single beads in between that sit a little bit lower. So we're going to be going through groups of 2 like this each time, going through both of them, and we're going to be putting single beads in the gaps between. So picking up 1, so let me turn it around. So I'm coming out of this group of 2 here, so I'm going to skip that single bead underneath and go through the next 2 on the top row. Okay, so picking up another 1. So now I'm coming out of this group of 2, so I'm going to skip this one underneath and go through the next 2 on the top row. And again, picking up 1, coming out here, skipping that one underneath and going through the 2 on the top row. Okay, picking up 1, coming out of these 2, skip that one underneath and go through the next 2. And the last bead of the row. So I've picked up my last bead, I'm coming out of these 2 here, I'm going to skip the one underneath like always, go through the next 2, like that. Now I'm here, coming out of these 2, so I'm just going to step up through this one above. Okay, so pull that really tight. Okay, so now we've got this, it's a bit easier to see this time, because if you turn it on its side, you've got these single beads that are sitting up higher than the others, and then you've got spaces of 2 beads underneath. So this time we're picking up 2 beads each time, so pick up your first 2. We're coming out of this single bead here, we're going to skip those 2 underneath and go through the next one on the top row. Again, picking up 2, coming out here, skip those 2 underneath and go through the next single bead on the top row. Picking up 2, coming out here, skip over those 2 and go through the next one. Pick up 2, skip over 2, go through the next one. Oops. And the last 2 of the row. So picking up the 2, coming out of this bead, I'm going to skip the 2 underneath as always, go through the next one, and then because it's the last bead in the row, you're also going to step up this time through 2 beads like that. Okay, and then pull that nice and tight. So for this row, we're going to be picking up single beads and going through groups of 2 again. So picking up 1, and I'm coming out of these 2 here. I'm going to skip over 1 and go through the next 2. Okay. And you're going to do that a total of 5 times. So picking up 1, coming out here, going to skip over 1 and go through the next 2. Again, picking up 1, skipping over 1 and going through the next 2. Picking up 1, skipping over 1, going through the next 2. And the last bead of the row, same thing. Coming out here, so we're skipping over 1, going through the next 2, and because it's the last in the row, you're going to step up as well. Oops. Into that bead above. Okay, pull that really nice and tight. Now you should have this, and now you've got these single beads that stick up higher than the rest with spaces in between them. But we're going to do the same thing again. We're going to pick up 1 bead each time. But this time you're picking up 1, coming out here, skipping over 2 and going through the next single bead. So you're skipping over 2 this time. Picking up 1, skipping over 2 and going through the next one. Picking up 1, coming out here, skipping over 2 and going through the next one. Picking up 1, skipping 2, going through the next one. And your final bead of the row. Coming out here, skip over 2, go through the next one, and it's the last one in the row, so you're also going to step up into that bead above as well. Now pull that really tight and it should close up a little bit like this. Okay, so you should be able to see the 5 beads that you added in that last row. So I'm coming out of this one here, I'm going to go through all 5 of those that we just added, the final 5 beads which are right in the centre, and pull tight so it closes up like that. Okay, so we have this. So we're coming out here, it doesn't matter which of those 5 beads you're coming out of, but you're going to pick up one of your brown now, swap into your brown, and go into one that's like kind of opposite. So I'm going to go through this one here, opposite to where I'm coming out of. Pull that through. Now I'm going to go back through that brown bead like that and back into the bead that I was originally coming out of, but it's already connected to this side of the bead, so I'm going to go through the other side of the bead just to anchor that brown bead in place like that. Okay, now I'm going to go back into the brown bead and we're going to add our leaf. So I'm going to pick up 2 of my green, slide those down like this. Now I'm going to ignore this first one and I'm going to go down through this one which is closest to the apple like that. Doesn't matter if it comes away like this. If it does, take that second one and hold it while you pull it tight. Make sure it comes all the way down like that, and then you can go back through the brown bead. But if you're coming out of the brown bead like I am on this side, I'd recommend that you go back into it on the other side, just so it kind of anchors it nice and central. Okay, so then you should have this. Now you can add a little stalk, and I just do that by picking up another brown bead. Okay, and going back into that brown bead on the opposite side. Like that, and now back into that one that I just added. And then back into the one on the bottom. So that creates a little stalk, so you could add that as long as you wanted it to be. That is our finished apple. So now what I will do is sew back down through a few of the red beads. Oh, and by the way, while you're up there at the top of the stalk, if you wanted to add a loop of beads or a jump ring or anything, that would be the time to do it. But to tie your knots, just move back down. And then, so I'm coming out of this bead here. You're going to take your needle underneath the threads that connect the bead that you're coming out of to the next one. So kind of catch those threads with your needle, pull that through and go through the loop twice. Pull it down slow, make sure it knot tightens like that. And then move away from the knot and then pull it really tight, and that knot should kind of vanish inside the bead. So tie as many knots as you want and do the same with your tail thread, and then we're finished. Once you've tied off your threads, and that's your apples all finished. So I think these are so cute. So I hope you're able to make one of these. You can comment down below if there's anything else you'd like to see, and like this video if you enjoyed, and subscribe to see more of my videos. Look how cute! You can also follow me on Instagram at Beading by Hannah, and I'll leave a link for my shop, which I sell beads, down below if you want to check that out as well. As always, thanks so much for watching everyone. See you next time. Bye!